Alright, boys, it's still August the 5th, about 2:13 p.m. Here's an interesting video for people, I think. Okay, I've got, we're going to look at, not very much multi-frequency, more single frequency here, but we will look at multi-frequency. You know, this video is actually going to show you the power of multi-frequency. Okay. Now, Deus Manu 60.6 kilohertz. We'll change this. Speed 2, audio response 5, disc is 8. Iron volume is maxed. I'll leave it maxed in this video. I may turn it off though. Okay, we're in the pitch 2 tones with a disc of 8. You see that nail there? Okay, I'm going to move that nail out of the way. You got to hear that nail, okay? Watch what happens here. This is interesting, okay? All right. Speed 2. Now I'm coming straight over. There's that nickel, and there's that little piece of iron again. You see that? Okay? You hear that? That's iron tone. How about that? Question is, what's this machine sounding on? Is it sounding on the iron, or is it sounding on the nickel? You hear that? Now I'm going to back the call up. You hear that? Push the call forward. You hear that? So in the wild, it's 60.6 kilohertz speed 2. Even with call height, mild ground, that's what you'd hear. Now I've got the iron tone maxed for this video. But if you hit it like that, or you hit it like that, you know, you get 40s to 60s in the meter, you know, you might stop. Okay, and we're going to slide over here. Fast program, 89 kilohertz, speed 2, silencer 2, audio response at 5. Listen, you hear that. You see that meter. Call height, down close. Mono program at 60. Iron tone, down close and up higher. There's 88.3 kilohertz. Iron tone, how about that? But if I back the call up, push the call forward, or even come through there at a 45-degree angle, or even around here, we hear that old nickel, don't we? So iron tone. There's 111 kilohertz. Okay, now I'm not getting iron tone anymore. You notice that? You hear that? That's a disc of 8, okay? .40 kilohertz. Back the call up, push the call forward, but coming through there. Quite a span there. I can sweep that call through there and not hear that nickel. 19.4 kilohertz. So I've got a span there I can sweep fore and aft in 19 kilohertz and miss that coin. Okay, let's go back. to 60.6 kilohertz. Hear that iron tone. Right through there. You hear that? Now I've got the iron ID turned on. I'm getting like a 2 to a 6. 3, 2, 3, or 4 generally. You hear that? Alright. Now we're going to remove the nickel. The nickel's gone. Now what do we hear? We don't hear anything. How about that? I'm down there on that iron wiggling that coil. We don't hear anything. But we know it's ferrous because it's playing with this detector, don't we? I'll put it back in there. We're still at 60.6 kilohertz. I'm coming down the spine of that nickel. You hear that iron tone. Now we're going to remove the actual ferrous. You see it there? Now let's sweep again. You hear that? So, this machine with iron tone maxed, I could not hear a masker that was actually affecting a non-ferrous target scenario, right? Let me move this nickel over a little farther here. I'll put it in my hand. There's that iron. Let's sweep this iron a little more here. You hear that? You hear that? Now I'm still sweeping it. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to leave the iron tone maxed. Let's start letting this disc down. There's 0.8. I don't hear that piece of ferrous. There's minus 4.9. Minus 3.3. 0. You see there? I don't hear that. Minus 0.7. I start getting signs of it. Minus 0.6. Okay. Let me turn this camera off and look at one more thing real quick. Okay, camera back on. This is probably a good place to show this, you know, because this is a new feature that's come out with these Prefix 3 versions. Now, when I was over here in the mono program, now I've dialed the disc to -1. I can hear that nail. Okay, but if in mono program, if I'm up here, let's just say I'm running somewhere right in there, typical running higher frequency on this machine, okay, I can't ever hear that nail. I must let the disc down, and it won't give an iron tone. It's going to give a high tone, okay? Now, let's slide back over here. Now, the fast program running 89 kilohertz didn't pose a problem for us when that nail and that coin were there, right? It performed beautifully, okay? But watch this. Notice my disc setting. I'm at 6.8 disc, okay? Oh, we can hear that nail, can't we? We can hear it with an iron tone. Now I'm going to turn the iron volume to 0. We don't hear it, do we? I'm going to max the iron tone. But I'm in a 6.8 disc. You notice that? Well, here's why I can hear that nail. Okay, I changed this when I turned the camera off. Go to Tones, Expert, keep hitting that left top key there. You see that right there? Now I'm going to bring that back up to 0. It doesn't go any higher than 0. There it is. It's back in 0. Notice I don't hear the nail anymore. Okay. So I'm going to start letting it down. There's -3. So we can hear it there. I can go lower. -4.3. I don't hear it there. Okay. So let's let this thing down. We'll just let it all the way down. -6.4 is as low as it goes. Okay, so we hear that baby. Now I can't set this up back exactly, but let's just see what we hear here. Okay, let me get my nickel here if I can find it. Nickel is on edge. Now this thing here rotates. You see that? That's pretty close. Okay, now what do we get now? We're still at silencer 2, 89 kHz band. So I can tell I've got possibly a masker there now, huh? You hear that? Let me turn this iron tip off. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go back in here. Select tones, go down to the bottom. Let's bring this back up. Okay, now I'm sweeping again. Oh, I'm hearing a little bit of that nail. Alright, let's remove the nickel and see what we hear. You see that? How about that? I don't hear the nail now. When I put the nickel in there, you hear that. Okay? I just thought I would show this, you know, because that is a new feature. Now, that's available with the fast multi-frequency calls, too, okay? You'll see it there. Ground iron break. It's at 0 right now. And I'm going to remove the nickel again. Sweep about the same call height. We don't hear that nail now, do we? Or ferrous. That's going to conclude the video.